Diary of a Wimpy Kid Planning Ahead. Monday, August. A lot has happened since my last diary, diaper overload. A few months ago, Mom and Dad decided that they couldn't stand the house anymore with its leaks from the hot tub crashing through the roof and the rats in the roof. They decided to start fresh somewhere else. We found this cool house that had a basement as well as 3 stories, so it was spacious and had a nice pool. The only thing that made it affordable was the fact that when the auction was held, no one put up anything higher than $500,000, which we did. We got a loan from the bank and managed eventually to convince a few of our relatives to sponsor us. We also sold our house. We got a good price for it as well because currently there was a housing crisis, and our house was snapped up by some desperate family. Well, today, we were moving to the new house. Even though we had a moving truck filled with most of our furniture heading towards the house, the minivan was still crowded, and we had to resort to filling some of the boat up as well. This time, I tried to sit in the front, but Roderick got there before me, so I was stuck in the back row. I decided to make the most of it by moving some stuff around, so I had at least some room. Luckily, I had planned ahead and brought one of my devices since I knew it would be a long ride. Recently I decided that planning ahead might be a good thing. Many things that have gone wrong has been because I haven't thought ahead, like when we got the pig, when I decided to make a holiday bazaar, and when I went to the beach at Quiet Cove because I wanted to ride the cranium shaker. Well, now I am going to give it a try, because it might work well for me. After about an hour, my legs were getting seriously cramped and I was worried that I wouldn't even be able to move them anymore. It was lunchtime and I was getting hungry as well. I asked Dad to pull up at the nearest restaurant, but I should have known that Mom had made mommy meals for everyone. Luckily, I remembered that I had snuck a few drum mice inside an airtight bag along in case we ended up at a place like Corny's and I lost my appetite. I excused myself to the bathroom. I hid behind a tree and devoured my tuna sandwich and the drum mice. I would have thrown the orange into the bin, but I knew Mom was going to ask me for evidence like the peel. We went back into the car. Now we were heading up this super steep slope. All the cars behind us were honking, but we really couldn't go any faster because we had a boat and also because another incident was fresh in Dad's mind. Once we were heading to some water park and there was also a steep hill. Dad decided to step on the accelerator and quickly get to the top of it because we were near a cliff, and he had a fear of driving on high places like bridges. As we shot up, suddenly, there was a tight bend, and we didn't make the turn and partially crashed into the barrier. We had to go find the nearest mechanic to repair the car. Anyways, this time Dad was slow going up the hill. When we saw how tight the next bend was, I knew Dad was impressed at himself for not racing up the mountain and crashing into it. Soon we reached the top of the mountain, and we arrived in a bunch of large neighborhoods. We found our house and Roderick and I couldn't wait to get into the pool. In fact, Roderick had been wearing his bathing suit as soon as he got into the car. Then Mom realized that the moving truck wasn't there. I was also wearing my bathing suit under my clothes. As I was taking them off, the moving truck arrived but drove right past the house. Then I watched Mom and Dad chase after it. I decided to pretend I didn't see anything and just go to the pool. When my parents came back, I had a feeling that they were annoyed that we were floating around in big inflatable, plastic rings. I decided to explore the house, so I dried myself off and went to check out all the roofs while Mom and Dad and the workers were unloading our furniture. The basement was much bigger than our last one. The kitchen was huge, so I knew Mom would be excited. There were 2 living rooms on the bottom floor and one of them had big glass windows which I knew would be converted into a Civil War battlefield. There was a bedroom on the ground floor as well. I went up the staircase to the first floor, which was for Manny. The second floor had a master bedroom which I knew Mom and Dad would be using. Third floor, which I had claimed beforehand. I was slightly smaller than the second and the first, but I didn't complain. What I liked most was the fact that there was a bathroom on each floor, so I didn't have to share it. I looked into what I thought was a second closet in my bedroom and I found out that it was a mini hallway which led to this small room at the end. Then, I had a genius idea. If I moved my video games machine into it and pretended the hallway was a closet and hid the door, I could play games whenever I wanted. I would just have to keep some video games in another room so my parents wouldn't just ask me where my video games went. I decided to carry them myself. It was very hard work carrying it up the stairs. I nearly collapsed by the time I was on the first floor. Eventually, I got it to my floor. After I lugged it into the room, I set it down and plugged it in. I had already brought up the video games. Since my parents were still unloading our stuff, I picked up a couple of bean bags and cushions and got them into the room. I decided that a table and a chair would be good, but I knew I would never get it up the stairs, so I asked Dad to help me. I simply made him put them down at the top of the stairs and lugged them the rest of the way. My parents mostly finished taking stuff out and had already finished the ground floor and basement, so I realized that I had to be quick in hiding the door because they were going to find it if they walked in. Luckily for me, Mom had already delivered all the boxes with my clothes and junk to the top of the staircase. I quickly hung up all my clothes against the door to hide it and stuffed the boxes against the side. After I filled in the rest of the hallway with stuff like old homework, Little League bats, paintings, shoes, bags, and a clothes drawer, it was fuller now. I arranged the boxes so I could climb over them where the doorknob was hidden under a jacket, there I could open the door to the other side. I had placed the empty boxes so that I could also get out from the inside. I realized that the hallway still needed a bit more space to be filled in, so I put in a coat hanger as well as some shoeboxes, cardboard cutouts and pool noodles. I filled in the other one with winter gear such as thick clothes, boots, thermal underwear, mittens, and scarves. As I finished, Mom and Dad came upstairs with the pieces for my bed and began assembling them. Dad was pretty impressed that I had already finished putting stuff in my closets. Luckily, they brought the mattress up as well, so I got to relax for a bit before Mom told me that I should go outside and swim in the new pool. I decided that I might as well because I would at least get out of helping them organize things. I realized that a private pool meant that I didn't have to go to the town pool anymore, so that was a relief. It was getting rather cold outside, and Roderick went back inside. I was pretty sure Manny was inside, using the bathroom. After a while I decided to go back inside. There was a lot of loud music from the basement, so Roderick must be down there. Then I realized that the doors were all locked. Roderick must have done that. I tried shouting for Mom to open the door, but the music was too loud and I was pretty sure they were in the basement helping with the furniture anyways. It was freezing and I tried looking for my towel and then realized that Roderick had taken it. Then I spotted what looked like Manny's towel and I decided to use it because I was going to get hyperthermia at this rate. Then I tripped over a large stick and fell flat on my face in a muddy patch of bushes next to the pathway leading up to the door. Just as I dried myself off, Manny went back outside to get his floating thing and I finally got back inside. After giving Roderick a piece of my mind, I took a shower. At dinner, it turned out that what I used to dry myself wasn't a towel, it was the tablecloth for our dining table, and Mom wasn't impressed.